Jonas Forth. I'm the creative director at ThingLink. ThingLink is a company which deals with image interaction tools. So what our service does is we can use images as platforms, add music, videos, imagery, text, basically anything on top of images. Well, we work in a lot of different sectors. Mainly, the entertainment sector has been really keen on using ThingLink. So we work with all four of the labels, Universal, Sony, and so forth. We've also had a strong foothold in publishing. So we've worked with a number of big publications in Canada. We've worked with The Guardian and similar publications. We also work in education. So we have a lot of schools using ThingLink. But mainly in music, that's where we mainly do our work. Well, I think that ThingLink sort of solved a couple of the issues that the music business is having trouble with. The matter of engaging your audience, distributing your music, and getting the message out there. So I think we solved a bit of that. ThingLink has sort of a coolness factor to it, and that's why I think the music business found it to be a great tool. And I also think that it's just such an easy tool to use, so it found like widespread usage within the music community just because people could do it themselves. So it's not only the big labels who are using it. I would actually say that it's more the independent companies and the people who really have a big interest in getting the message out there, getting their music out there, which are keen on ThingLink. Yeah, we talk about that we have rich media tags, and the rich media tags are what are placed upon the image. So that can be music, that can be videos, that can be subscription services, polls, and so forth. One of the first that we did was with SoundCloud, and we were good friends with SoundCloud. It was a really natural fit for us, and it worked really well. What the SoundCloud tag does is that you can play music streaming on top of any image, so you can just add sort of a music tag to it, or a sound tag. We've also done integrations with Topspin, FanBridge, coming out with RDO, a lot of music-based services. I believe in a couple of months we'll have close to 15 different integrations. Some of them we actually work with, some of them we just use their API and build it. So it all depends on sort of if we see that there's a fit that we can actually gain something both. Topspin and FanBridge is a kind of a similar company where you can sort of you give away your email address. So if you're a music fan, you put in your email address and you get a track back or something like that. There's a lot of streaming services like Spotify. We have a Spotify tag as well, which is then similar to the SoundCloud tag where you can stream music directly. And it's been a lot of these integrations have come via hack days, where if you look at the business, in the end it's fairly small, and especially the people who are doing the technical integrations, technical implementations in the companies, it's really a core group of people. If you're just looking at the big services like the Spotify's and SoundClouds and so forth, it's really a small group of people, and you start to get to know those people. So it's when we talk about integrations, it's really a couple of people sat down in a room and said, let's do something cool. Well, the interesting thing about the music industry at the moment is that regardless of who you are, you essentially have the same sort of tools, digital tools to use. Of course, if you're a label, you're able to develop your own mix-ups, you kind of things, but if you're an emerging artist at the moment, there are so many free tools, so many free services to use, that it's just a matter of being smart about it. So, as I said earlier, it's you need to engage people. You need to find the people, because it's a lot of a lot about distributing music nowadays is about breaking through the noise, because there's so much else out there. So it's really a matter of allowing for the fans to find the music and then engage with it. And what we think we've found is a way of making one unit, making an image into something that can be shared forward, that can be engaged with, that can at the same time stream the music, you can show the videos, you can sell the music, you can engage your audience, and just with a single unit, like a single media unit. And I think that's why the music business really has taken a liking to ThingLink. I mean, the first thing is make the content available to people. So a lot of people say that, piracy and so forth, that you're not able to sell music. But so many trials and so many, when looking at statistics, you've actually found that giving something away for free, or at least a part of it, always brings people back to buying the actual content, the music. So make at least a part of it accessible on all channels. I mean, you have so many right now. You have iTunes, you have Amazon, you have Spotify, SoundCloud. You have so many services where you can have the music, and you're gonna have fans on each one of these. People who are looking for new music, or they might be existing fans, but you need to make it accessible for them. So the distance between the people making the music and the fans is as short as possible. So you want to make it accessible, and you want to make it engaging, because if it's engaging and if it's cool, people are going to share it. And if they're going to share it, they share it within circles of their own, and if they share it within circles of their own, they most likely share with people who have a somewhat similar taste, who might not have found the music already, but will find it by people sharing it. And think about technical limitations, because and one of the biggest there is mobile. So if you know, and it's just a fact that people are accessing a lot of music on mobile right now. So you can't just think about laptops or people being static when sitting down listening to music. You have to think about that. People are actually listening to a lot of music via their mobile phones, to make it possible for people to listen to it easily by mobile. Yeah, you can really get a lot of data out of essentially all services these days, as well as of course ThingLink also allows for that kind of data collection. But I would say when talking to SoundCloud, for example, what's interesting with SoundCloud, when looking at when you look at their stats you might have released a song or two. It might be a somewhat obscure band, and you'll look at the stats, and it might be that initially when you put it out, you said, it's people in Europe who are going to listen to this. We know that we have fans here, but all of a sudden when you start looking at the statistics, you're seeing that a lot of people in South America are listening to it, a lot of people in Asia. So maybe you should also make some sort of effort on reaching them in a different way in Asia and South America, and maybe actually publishing CDs or LPs there as well, making that kind of distribution available. Yeah. Well, ThingLink is a highly engaging platform already, but we're looking at making it even more engaging. So we have social features and already, such as sharing, embedding, and so forth, but we're looking at adding much more social engagement around images. We believe that the world is becoming a much more visual place all the time. We read less, but but at the same time we consume more and more information. But that information doesn't have to be textual based. So we believe that it will be a lot of the communication will go through images. just looking at when Facebook bought Instagram, I mean, that was a really highly strategic move on their part, both that they know that images are important, but also that they wanted to move into mobile. Well, we plan to do allow for a lot more interaction around images, not just putting in tags, but also putting in comments, really allowing for the sharing of images in a completely new way. Let's say like this, when I started out in the business, I started out 11 years ago, right? Still was in school. That's about 10 years ago. We had so few tools at the moment. I mean, we are sometimes blinded by the fact that there's so many tools out there that we just don't realize that they're accessible. We can engage people. We can build really large fan groups. We can do really so much online right now for free. And I would just say, like, go for it. Look at all the content you have. Look at the channels that are available for you and make the most out of it.